Good morning, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our second webinar hosted by myself, Francis West, and Graham Eisen, my business partner. Today, we're going to cover a subject that a lot of people ask us about, and that is how to better manage email in Outlook using quick steps and rules. Before I start, I just wanted to give you a quick introduction about Westtek and also myself and Graham. Both of us have been involved in providing IT services and solutions to companies, many in the UK, for the last 25 and 24 years respectively. What we specialize in is basically being an outsourced IT department for our clients and help them grow by making their workforce very efficient. So moving on, the two things we're going to like to cover today is the first thing is we're going to show you how to set up rules and help you manage email messages automatically. And then the second thing we're going to do is show you how to use quick steps also in Outlook to help you automate a lot of different functions within Outlook. So what I'm going to do in a second is share my screen with you, and then we can start. Let me just check. Graham, can you see my screen? Yes, you can. That's great. Okay, let me move on. So the first million-dollar question is, why would you want to use rules? Well, I'm sure, like you and me, if you're in the habit of filing things or moving things out of your inbox, then it can be a very painstaking task to do it manually. So, and that's why Microsoft introduced rules quite a few years ago in the earlier versions. So what I'm going to do now is just show you different examples. So for instance, if you're getting emails in from the same person on a daily, hourly, or even imagine if you get newsletters in on a regular basis and you just want to file it away, you don't want to delete it, then rules are great. So let me show you a quick example of how I use rules all the time. Just finding an example here. So there you go. There's an email from a lady that I connected with recently in LinkedIn. And what we want to do is, instead of me having to use my left button and drag and drop the email down to this folder that I've created, recruitment or hosting, I can rather create a rule. So the quickest way to create a rule is to do a right click on the actual email as it's come in, then click on rules down the left hand side, and then you can either get Microsoft or Outlook to help you create the rule, or you can do it manually. My recommendation is, especially once you get used to this, is always to do it manually, because then you can be a bit more specific as to what you want to do with the rule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Create Rule with my left button, and now it comes up showing me the main screen that we're going to use to set up this rule. So if you look, there's quite a number of options here. So if I choose the top one, and this is any email that comes from Charlotte, from LinkedIn, I can tick, or any email that contains a certain words we can use, but I'm just going to leave it for that for now. As you can see down here below, you can even select certain emails to change color. You can get certain emails to play a sound if you wanted to, but let's leave it just like that for the moment. Then what I always do is I go to Advanced Options, and in here we can now see any email that comes in from that person from LinkedIn when it arrives down the bottom here. So what I always do is click down the bottom and click here, and now you can see the email address from where it comes in. Most rules will work either off an email address or the content of what's in the body or the subject. What I want to achieve here now is I want any email that comes in from member@linkedin.com to be automatically filed into this folder called recruitment_hosting. So I'm going to click on OK because I'm happy with that selection, and now click Next. So have a look down this list. I mean, there are so many options that you can choose, even to delete it, permanently to delete it. I'll quickly cover that as I'm standing here. When you select a rule and you include delete it, it will delete the email but move it into your deleted items folder. But then, of course, afterwards, you've got to go back and then empty your deleted items folder. If you don't want to do that and save in more time, then all you need to do is select this option, which is permanently deleted, because then it will not even appear in your deleted items folder. So what I want to do this time is I want this email, when it comes in, to automatically move into a specific folder, which I'm now going to specify. So if you look down here at the bottom, it says to a specified folder. I click on it, and now it gives me the ability to click on all my folders and find the folder that I want to save it into. So if you go down, go to Westtek, and there I found my folder called recruitment_hosting, and I click OK. And of course, if the folder is not there, all you have to do is here on the right-hand side, say click New, select the folder, and it inserts it there. So of course, you can add multiple folders. You can also, if you fancied it, you can print the email at the same time as it comes in, but I'm going to try and keep it simple for this purpose of demonstration at the moment. So I'm going to click Next. So the second screen is where I can get really clever and say that if an email comes in, it matches the first criteria, but it comes from a certain person that I don't want to file, then I can actually select this option here, say to specified account. So if the email was copied into somebody else and you didn't want to file it, then you can choose it here. Or again, my only recommendation here that I always make to people is you cannot make mistakes here, unless of course you delete everything. But what you do here with rules is create one, select the options, and ask somebody to send you a test email in, and then test it. It's all in the testing. So I'm just going to leave it just with these two. And as you can see, as we select options down the bottom, it immediately shows us down here as to what's going to happen. So now I click Next. I give it a name, test rule for webinar. Now this is a very important part, because here we can either choose now just to click Finish, which means that it's the end of the rule, but it will not start running until the next email comes in. Or if you're like me and you've got loads of emails that's come in over the last, month, year, 10 years in your inbox, and you want to try and clean up your inbox, then the first thing you want to do is do this. Run this rule now on the messages already in my inbox, because immediately that would go back from day one in your inbox and then execute this rule. So I'll do that. I'll turn it on, click Finish, and do you see how it's busy running here? So now I'll just wait for that to finish and close it. It's busy updating. So the rule is done. And lo and behold, you'll see the email is gone. So if I to prove that the rule has worked, if I go back to this folder of mine and look at the top there, and there's the email from the lady that sent me an email from LinkedIn. And that's how the rule works. Now, you could say, okay, but I wonder if this rule, maybe there was something else that I wanted to do that I forgot to add this time. Not a problem. All you need to do is go back at the top here. It might be different in different versions of Outlook. I'm using Outlook 2013, which I highly, highly recommend to anybody that's not already on Outlook 2013. So go into Rules, and then go to Manage Rules. And in there, you'll see I've got 3 million, but there's my rule that I've just created. So if I want to go and edit it or change it or delete it, all you need to do is highlight it and then click on Change Rule, and then Edit Rule, and there you go. So there is the rule that I created, nothing else ticked. Click Next, click next, make any changes you want, click next, and then finish. But again, before you click finish, remember to tick this box so that it can run again on your inbox and to make any changes that you wanted to make in the first place, and then click finish. So that is, in a nutshell, how to create rules. It's really easy, but it can save you so much time. Now, I want to take you one step forward, and that is how to create quick steps. Quick steps still use rules, and it uses the same logic as rules, but it doesn't run automatically. You've got to physically click on the box, which are these here at the top, for the rule to run. So I'm going to demonstrate. Let's go and find any email. Let me just find one down here. All right, so we found the email that I want to use, and then you'll be able to see it straight away. So what a quick step is going to help us do now is to be able to file emails manually into folders that we choose to do so. So I'm going to just quickly pick an example. I can just choose anyone. Let's say we choose this email, just sending out the confirmation about the webinar. So every time an email comes in that I don't want to delete, but I want it to be filed away, I've created a folder called File. So very simply, instead of it clicking, a lot of people delete emails, and then it sits in their deleted items folder, and then people like us come along and we press the delete button, and then guess what? We empty out the deleted items folder, thinking that somebody no longer needs it, and then the data is gone. So rather, if you don't want to keep something in your inbox, rather create a quick step, which I'm going to demonstrate now, to file all the emails that you don't want to delete into a folder. And you can call it what you like, archive, I call mine file, and then you'll be able to keep it forever. So this is how it works. So what you do, I'm just opening a one that I've already created. So, well, I'll tell you what, let me do one from scratch so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So click on Create New, and let's call this webinar quick step rule. Quick step rule. The only snag is if I call it that long, that name that long, it's going to show up at the top here that long. So because I've got quite a few, and I bet you will have as well, rather make the name as short as possible. So I'm just going to call mine webinar. So if you look down the bottom here, what do I want to do? I want to move that email that I'm standing on. When I click on the little button, which I'll show you in a minute, I wanted to move that into a folder called Westtek, or file. Let's call it Westtek as it's closer. And if I want to, I can actually add more actions. So you can add as many as you want here. I'm just going to stick with one at the moment for demonstration purposes. And then click Finish. And now watch this. You see at the top here, it says Webinar. So if I click on any email that I want to quickly file into this Westtek folder here, all I have to do is stand on it, click on the webinar, and it's gone. It is that quick. Another one, quick, done. So I want to show you also, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's actually quite a few quick steps here with little folders, but then there's one here called Jane, which is it's got a little email folder. Now that's very important. Why? Because the way I'm using quick steps is when a supply invoice comes in to me, I want to not only file it into my folder called supply invoices, but I also want to forward it to my accounts lady called Jane. So therefore, I've created a rule that does all that for me in one single click. And I'll show you the rule. Have a look at this. So when the email comes in, automatically forward it to this person, and then move it for me out of my inbox into a folder called Purchase Invoices. I can't tell you that one single rule, how much time that saved me. So in a nutshell, what we've covered today is I've shown you how to create rules, and also I've now shown you how to do quick steps. And I can assure you, if you use these two on a regular basis, it will save you so much time each day. And please feel free to give me a call, and if you or just the email. My email address is francis.w@westtek.co.uk, and we can answer any questions. What I'll also do in the repeat video is I'll send out a link where everything I've covered today will be listed in a document produced by Microsoft themselves. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Take care.